Rick Meyers was and still is provided the racketeering service by Bing to change web page titles in their search engine that were/are not on those web pages. They bypass the title tags of the HTML, and they have a terminal/web page to change titles in Bing from or contact one of their racketeering contacts at Bing and have them change the titles at Bing in the search engine level. And that gave Rick and Krystal and Steve the ability to make it appear like Rick Meyers was embezzling from Krystal Meyers, so they could show how easily they can actually embezzle. And that was also letting people who they would sell their service of embezzling to know that they provided that service as part of their smorgasbord of felonies for sale. This is a screenshot from 8/20/2014. The background screenshot, because it's a screenshot of it's actually a screenshot of a video with a screenshot in it, where the back screenshot is 8/20/2014. This is what you're actually seeing. Rick Meyers' site with krystalmeyers.com domain pointed to it with the titles changed at search engine level by Bing, or like I said, by Rick with the terminal, giving that racketeering service capability, because it never was called Krystal Meyers' official site. So then this screenshot is his links page. Again, this is a screenshot of a video showing a screenshot, where this is actually says Krystal Meyers. That's not been tampered with. I wrote URL to the left on the screenshot, but that is how it was in search engines. And the date on this one is 5/28/2014. Where Grace Chapel, you see, is linked from his links page, and that was before. Okay, so above screenshot from 5/28/2014, when Grace Chapel was linked from Rick's site, as shown per the Wayback Machine. So now we're going to go to Rick's site, because I proved that it's actually Rick's site. Okay, see, Grace Chapel was linked in July, so they would have been linked. It would have been linked prior to July. Okay, if you go back, they were linked up until the last date, July. So June, February. So see, I mean, they were linked all during that time, and they just weren't linked on between sometime after July 3rd, 2014. Then by August 30, 2014, they weren't. Now you have to see the video that I'm making. Well, that doesn't make sense. This video isn't on this page yet. It will be. Rick Meyers' organized crime, where he had been providing the racketeering service, falsely titling several web pages, where one of them he named the title of his website in Bing to be Krystal Meyers' official site. That's that screenshot I showed you. And this is what it would have looked like in Bing had he not changed it at search engine level. And that was done back on 6/2/2016. It was done in Google, but that's what it would have looked like in Bing had he not changed it at search engine level. Krystal Meyers' site was not in Google at all, or Bing. It was only Rick Meyers' site under her domain. Her domain worked as www.krystalmeyers.com, but not without the www. Without the www, it went to his site. He split that up. He sent it two different directions. So her site was never in any search engines all that time. It was still linked from old pages because they always did it as www. But in search engines, it wasn't in it. So that's what it would have looked like. It would have been called eSword Home. That's unaltered. And as soon as I wrote about that, got the screenshot, it was gone, like a day or two later. And this is where this is going to be video proof, except it's not going to say old Defending Krystal Meyers style, because this is not that old Defending Krystal Meyers style. She was in on the whole thing. And this is this below portion is repeated. So after I put Rick's site under Krystal's domain in the Wayback Machine, he put it under her domain. I'll have to rephrase that. He pointed her domain to his site, or they pointed her domain to his site. And then I put that in the Wayback Machine to use against him. Then he uploaded a copy of his site to her site to make it look like it was her site you were seeing in Bing. But the favicons give that away, which I show you on the video that this portion of is a portion. The video I'm making is a portion of a video that is going to be here that proves that the favicon, when you click from Bing, the favicon is Rick Meyers' favicon. That is the eSword favicon that shows, and thus Rick Meyers' eSword site that people saw in Bing. So if you go to if you move forward in time, the Wayback Machine, start here. It begins with Krystal's domain, pointed to Rick's site, as you see Rick Meyers' eSword favicon in your browser down. That was when I put it in originally in the Wayback Machine. There's documentation for court, to use against them. Then it changes to show Krystal's favicon as you move forward in time to the next date. That was Rick uploaded his site. Well, I explain right here. That was when they uploaded a copy of Rick's site to a folder in Krystal Meyers' web publishing space and pointed that domain to that and manually archived it via the Wayback Machine. Another Racketeering service provided them, because it's not supposed to be manually done. Then they pointed the domain back to Rick's eSword site, and that is where it stayed 99% of the time. It stayed there that way unless they were doing that one action. The other pointing of that domain was only done to get the copy of Rick's site that they put in Krystal's web space in the Wayback Machine under that domain periodically to make it look like it was his site. It was the copy of his site in her web space that you're seeing. So you see the favicon. That's the eSword favicon right there. Now you go to the next date. That's the one I put in. Now here you see Krystal's favicon show up. That means you're seeing her site, and a folder on her site where he uploaded a copy of his site to. Then that was manual. Okay. Then we got the Wayback Machine coming back through off the internet, and you see his eSword favicon. That's an actual Wayback Machine archive that wasn't manual. Then you see another natural archive of it coming off the internet. Then you see another manual one. This was done manually because he's pointing the domain to that domain to a folder where he has a page called support.html on her site. So that's a copy. So the manual ones that are the ones with her favicon, and then there's the ones that aren't manual coming in off the internet. Those are the ones with the eSword favicon, and I have a video showing you that the ones coming off the eSword favicon. So I think that's all I wanted to show you in this video, because these others are not linked. So that's it. So the rest of the video continues with me showing you how Rick and Steve and Krystal her pretended embezzlement to test embezzlement. In the following video, will you see links out to the right of old videos I had? And even when they say support Krystal Meyers, that's the title. That is me quoting the title of the web page that Rick Meyers named at search engine level. That is not me saying to support her. It never was. That is not what that is. It's called a quote. Perhaps you've heard of quoting things. That's all that is. It is not me saying to support her. So that carries on to any of the links you see at the right side of the page. Not on the page you're looking at now, but on the page in Bing and Google. And when you see links to videos like that I may have made, those are quotes. That's me quoting what Rick Meyers called his site in Bing when he, Krystal and Steve, pointed the krystalmeyers.com domain to his site and then named the pages in Bing because they were never changed on his site. But so that quote, support Krystal Meyers, that is not me saying to support her. That was me quoting what Rick Meyers named his own donation page in Bing. He called it eSword support Krystal Meyers or support. So that is a quote. That is not me saying to support eSword or Krystal Meyers. Do not support eSword and do not support Krystal Meyers. They're attempted murderers at a minimum. This is Rick Meyers' eSword site underneath Krystal Meyers' domain. Now I click it back too quick for you to see the favicon load, so that's really not proof. But I do it again where the favicon loads, and that is proof. It would have been proof had he not published his site to a folder in her publishing space. Now here we'll see the favicon load in the tab, which is lucky I had that malware in there, or else I'd have probably clicked back and you wouldn't have seen it again. So what Rick meant for evil, God meant for good. So you see the favicon right there. That was Rick Meyers' eSword favicon that you see. So that means you're looking at Rick Meyers' site under Krystal Meyers' domain. He pointed that domain to his website, and that's his donation page. Called support, where you also see his eSword favicon. And there's his his PayPal page. Off of the search for Krystal Meyers, you could ended up donating to Rick Meyers if you were a fool. And here I'm showing you the HTML of the page. It's called eSword Home. It's not called Krystal Meyers' official site. See, it's changed its search engine level, and it stayed that way for 2 years. So it's actually would be saying eSword Home were not changed at search engine level. A little bit of time. This is showing you how they're on the same server. The Rick site, Krystal site are on the same server. That doesn't mean their web space can be mixed up by accident.